of the Real Estate Marketing Dude podcast. Folks, what is going on? Welcome to another episode. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We got a really exciting show today, as they all are, aren't they? But I get a call, literally, I think just this week. They're like, hey, this guy, and you guys probably may have seen this guy before on one of these TV shows. They're actually one of the stars here on Listing Impossible. And he wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about outside the box stuff. If you guys have seen the show, they focus on hard to sell properties. And not only hard to sell properties, but how do you do that during COVID and all this other stuff? So at the end of the day, what I can tell by this team is they do things outside the box, hence why they got a television show. Nobody who is boring gets a television show. I've been telling you guys each and every week on this show, do things differently. Nobody likes average. Be different. Stand out. It's exactly what a brand is. So we're going to quiz him and ask him all these different questions. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest, Mr. Yawar Charlie. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. Why don't you go ahead and let our listeners know a little bit about who you are, what you guys do, and I'm going to get into it.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on. So I am based out of Beverly Hills. I'm part of the Aaron Kirman Group, which is one of the luxury divisions of Compass in Beverly Hills. And our team, AKG, was the number one sales team in California last year. We did about $530 million. And that made us the number one team in California, the number one Compass team nationwide, and I think number 10 nationally, according to the Wall Street Journal. So it was an awesome last year. It was the awesome start to this quarter. And this little thing called a pandemic happened, which kind of threw everybody for a loop.
Yeah.
But, I'm happy to say that, we're definitely one of the lucky teams, and we definitely work hard as a collective to make sure we're always pushing the envelope, always trying to do different things. And, look, I've been in the game for over 13 years now, so I've seen ups and downs and I've seen recessions. The different thing about this market is that it was not man-made. It was not you could kind of tell by forecasting, a crash is going to happen, or, okay, we're overpriced, or, there's a bubble. This is a pandemic, so all bets are off on how we used to deal with things before, and now we really have to be super focused. So anyway, that's a little bit about kind of where I'm from. And
did you guys kick Josh Altman's ass or what? You got to ask the question. What about Josh?
Morning. No. We collaborate on a lot of things. We co-list. I mean, it's not as cutthroat as it might seem on on certain channels. But no, it's collaborative because you're in the game together. There's a handful of people that do a certain type of business, and we work together. We share clients. We co-list. Sometimes we lose listings to those people. Sometimes we end up listing after them.
Sure.
It's a very kind of free flowing on that level.
So talk to me a little bit about I'm curious to know why you guys are so different, because you don't get a show on accident. Nothing like that happened. So obviously you guys were successful before the show came. Otherwise you wouldn't have got it also. However, what do you guys do differently, and what are you guys seeing? My whole thing that every listener on the show is like, do things differently. Break the barriers, break rules, bend them, stretch your limits, think outside the box. So what are you guys doing so differently, and how do you sell these hard to sell properties?
Well, so I think one of the great things about being on this team is that, the president of our team, Aaron Kirman, is one of those mega agents, always like top 5 in the country on his own. And Aaron's got a very tell it like it is style. And that's kind of what our policy is really as a team. And our styles couldn't be different. When I'm very sort of buttoned up, proper. Aaron will roll in a t-shirt and jeans and a Starbucks tea, herbal tea glass and knock it out of the park. So what's great is that everyone on our team is different, and we collaborate together. So everyone brings something different to the table. And I think that's a huge key to our success, because, no two agents are the same, right? And in our business, like I could, bang my head against the wall every time I get an email. So-and-so sold a $20 million listing. So-and-so sold this, so-and-so sold that. And, as human beings, sometimes our initial reaction is to not be happy for that person, or to go, what the F am I not doing? And what I learned, especially from a business coach, Andrea Quinn, that I've been working with, that actually is Aaron's coach as well. She said something that was like, your happiness is not affected by someone else's success. And I learned a long time ago that I needed to be happy for other people's success, because that showed me that if they could have that success, I could have it too. So now, like, randomly when I'll get like agents that I may have not even met, I'm on a lot of email lists, and if someone will say, just sold this, I'll take a second and I'll respond to that email and I'll say, congratulations, even though I might be one of 500 people they sent that email to, just to kind of put that out there to the universe. Because I feel like that makes a huge, huge difference. Like your mindset and the way that agents in our business, because it's, I don't know of another business where you can be so close to making significant money and within 60 seconds it can disappear. And I've had that, and I continue to have that, and I had a little bit of a disappointment yesterday on a major
peaks and valleys, baby.
It is, but it's how you get through it. And on our team, what we do is we really collaborate and make sure that we are honest, because there's enough people out there that are going to tell a seller or a buyer exactly what they want to hear and not get the job done, because it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't benefit me. And so that's kind of how we approach things. And on the show, if you saw the show, one of the best compliments I think I've gotten about it, just across the board, anyone who's ever done real estate, doesn't matter their price point, watches that show and goes, wow, that's exactly how it is. You have a difficult client or a challenging house. Doesn't matter if it's 20 million, 2 million, or 200,000, the struggles are the same.
Yep. If you guys notice, one of the things he's saying is he's just talking about being authentic and being raw and real. And here's another key point. Like, you see a lot of these agents all the time, especially in the Facebook groups, like, which is the best office to work for, which is the best CRM, or which is the best this, which is the best that. Dude, half of this business is who you surround yourself with. I'd actually say a lot more than half of it is. I'm guessing that your team dynamic and culture is like electrifying. So you guys probably all party together. You guys probably all hang out together. You're probably friends outside of work together. And the culture, and honestly, because you're right, this is a freaking grueling damn business. When you hit a skid, I mean, there's a reason why fucking 90% of people don't make it. Period. Yeah. It's because it's too damn stressful. When you hit a skid, it's hard to go overcome that. But you're right. You got to just sort of rub some dirt on it, keep chucking away, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I will say that, our office culture is one. I always joke around that we're the island of misfit toys, because there's, when we were John Arrow Group and got bought by Pacific Union and got bought by Compass, all within 12 months, right? And because of our production and our team dynamic, we have our own, we're one of the few teams, if not, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I don't think I am, the only team that's got their own standalone office.
Sure.
And it's really great. The energy in there is dynamic. It's collaborative. There's always something creative kind of being bounced back and forth. And, look, when people say, like, what's the right office? It's about your business, under what umbrella you feel like you're going to shine, and who there, if you're someone who likes to collaborate like me, who can I work with that is that energetically on the same page as me, who's got the same goals, who I can learn from, that I can bring my skill set to the table that they may not have,
Yep. Were you from LA, or were you transplant in?
No.
Half of Southern California.
Yeah, no, I'm part of that half. I actually grew up in San Francisco, and I was a professional actor, and I was moved to LA for that and was working. And that's actually how I got into real estate. I had saved up money that I'd done from being on some shows, and had an acquaintance who was a real estate agent, and he sold me my first house. And, as nice as of a person as he was a horrible real estate agent. And so I ended up doing a lot of the research on my own, and really found that I liked the business. I found that creatively, like, finding houses to me was really fun and cool. And I got to connect with people. I have a degree in psychology as well. So it was like, all right, all of these skills kind of found their perfect fit. And I just transitioned from entertainment and took a lot of my contacts there and kickstarted a real estate business.
Yep. We had, it's funny because we have a couple people in the LA area on the show, and everyone has really huge personalities. Peter Lorimer, I mean, you might know his name. He's the rock star guy, right? And then you guys have your own personality. But what do you guys look in common with any of these brands that have been on this show? They all have the same thing in common. Like, they turn heads, they generate attention, and they do it in their own way, very authentically. And ultimately, that's what attraction is, folks. Like, we try to be so damn perfect and fit in a shoebox, but you end up resonating with exactly zero, zilch, by doing that, because people can smell the BS a mile away today.
Yeah.
Where's the general business coming from? Like, you guys don't get to top brand. Like, people are probably wondering, hey, how are they generating $500 million in sales? Is it coming from Sphere? Is it coming from relationships? You guys actually, where do you guys generate business from as a team? You and yourself personally?
I mean, all of those things. Look, Aaron's been doing this for like 25 years, so he's very, very well connected. And when I sort of hitched my wagon to that star, basically, though I had a really great book of business on my own, and I continue to, which is the great thing about a partnership, because it's not for everybody, right? But for me, what I wanted was to continue doing what I was doing, and then elevate myself to be in conversations for a certain echelon of home that I wouldn't necessarily have been in had I not been affiliated with Aaron. Sure. And that kind of team and those sales and those numbers. And so for me personally, most of my business comes from my sphere of influence, referrals. And I also am very, you said something that is, which I said earlier too, it's super important to be authentic, but it's also important to know what you're talking about, right? So I am one of those people, when someone asks me, doesn't matter where I am, tell me about the real estate market. I'm like, well, where do you live? Like what I can tell you, it's very neighborhood specific here in LA, or like broad strokes. So I'm always like, I'm conversational, but I don't hit them over the head. Like, I am realtor, buy a house from me. Yeah. I'm not like that. And
people, you're not always posting just listed and just sold, like sending out market updates, and don't forget to turn back the clock emails.
Oh yeah. Cause everyone, Jesus Christ. I mean, look, here's the deal, right? You have to create media and outreach that is essentially you, okay? Because anyone can go to Compass Tools, click, spring ahead email and hit send. Guess what? That person probably got it from 10 other people. Who gives an F? Tell them about you. Like I always say, like, when anytime I do an interview or anything, I say, if you look at my Instagram, it's kind of a really good representation of who I am as a person. My interests, my personal life, the real estate, friends, because I feel like that's who you want. Because you can see, okay, clearly this person sells a lot. Okay, awesome. They're in a bunch of magazines. Okay, they have a really great home life. They have 2 great dogs. Like, this is someone I want to hang out with. Because when someone can connect with you, it makes all the difference in the world. And it's super, super, super important to, not in an aggressive, over the top kind of way, but I think it's important to, like, just subliminally let people know when you kind of have successes, and connect when you don't also.
Well said.
Because are receptive to that.
Well said. And it's about reminding people what you do in a very visual social media world. Hence the whole television channel dedicated to the damn brand, or the damn story itself. You guys, what we're talking about is brand. Media. That's what we talk about every day on this damn show. Every week on the show is about media, content creation, staying consistent in that, really just being you. I mean, when you become the most unforgettable agent, that's when you really get hired first. So I'm reading one of these, I'm reading a book that this week by Marcus Sheridan. I already forgot the damn name. Anyways, it's content marketing. And here's the truth. And this guy's like one of the top content marketers in the world. It's awesome. He used to be a pool guy, took the pool company to like 30 million or whatever. Now he consults all over the country. But here's what he said. It's very true. That adds to this point of the book that sort of stuck to my mind. 70% of the purchasing decision is already made by the time they reach out to you, from things like your social media feed, like your Instagram page and all of that, because it's the same as me. It's like, when I was still selling in Chicago, I'm a dude. I wasn't $1 million agent. It's not who the hell I attract. It's not my group. I'm blue collar, just dude. I swear I'm off the cuff. I wear sandals. It's just how I roll, right? So I wish I could sell $1 million houses. The truth is I didn't. I started selling higher houses and my friends started making more damn money. That's the truth, because that's who I surrounded myself with, right? So it's just really, really, at the end of the day, I don't believe you can control or create who you are.
No.
I think the way that you'll attract more is just by literally screaming it from the damn rooftops in the loudest way possible and banging a damn drum at the same time.
It is. And it's really kind of showing people who you are. Because there's 200,000 licensed real estate agents in California. Let that number sink in, 200,000. And so how do we differentiate ourselves from other people? Like I can't be like, I learned way early, and it was something that I'm not a machine. I have to remind myself all that, constantly.
Sure.
But I would see, because I'm not someone who's great at CRMs. That's just not my freaking thing. As much as I want it to be, as much as it's been a goal, it was a goal 14 years ago. It was a goal yesterday. It still has not been achieved, but that's not my gig, right? Well, what can I do? What am I really awesome at? When I read something meaningful, I print it and I send it to people. When I there was an article I was featured in, and when the whole Listing Impossible thing was launching, and I had done so many, and this one in particular wrote, and it was just like in such an authentic voice. I feel like he got who I was and my history, and like I come from a family of actors, and he kind of captured like that whole thing. And I got married on the Grammys, and he included that. It was just like, if you needed to read anything to figure out who Yawar was, this piece was great, right? So I printed it and I sent it to everybody in all my past clients, some of my sphere, and I just said, I really appreciated how this author wrote this article, and I thought I'd share it with you. Hope you're doing well. I got two listings from that mailing, from a past sphere, from clients I had not seen in 10 years. And not because I was trying to show off. It was just something
Can
special
I get your
that
opinion?
I wanted to share.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, hey, take a read, hope you're well. And that's those little notes, like that's how I do it. Like, I'm a personal connection person.
Yeah.
Other people are statisticians and will send 800 emails a day and will be that person. That's not me. But whatever that path is for you, you have to do what authentically fits. Don't try to put force yourself into a box if it doesn't fit for you.
Yep. Well said. 100%. I love that. 100%. So many people just try to be someone they're not, and that's exactly why you fall on your face. It's really hard to market yourself when you're being fake. Like, me doing dance moves on video is equivalent to that, right? I'm going to be like, this is not going to work out too well, right? Folks, here's what's really, really important about brand. And if you catch up, if you're going to listen to anything on this is what you write down. People don't remember what the hell you do. They remember how the hell you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People don't remember what you do. They remember how you did it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important. There's two huge marketing ops in brand and in real estate. One is the experience itself. Like, I'm guessing just by talking to Yawar right now, I guarantee you that you probably have like a customer service checklist with every single client. That's like a system in your head. Like,
In my head,
you have like a process, like, okay, we just first cup of coffee, check. Step 4, make sure I get him a little personalized note after this part of the process. Like, do you have one of those in there?
Yeah, I wouldn't say a checklist. Again, this goes under the CRM, and God, I wish I was more organized with my systems. But no, I do. I have a process that I do with every client. Again, doesn't matter the price point. And again, you have to think of creative things. There's a particular high-end boutique that offers agents a discount for their business products. And it's wrapped really well. It looks expensive. I mean, it's expensive-ish. I mean, in our market, it's, whatever, but it looks really good. I pair it with an awesome champagne that I like, that not necessarily is the most expensive thing in the world, that again, presents really well, with a sweet note. And guess what? Every time people pick up that champagne glass, they're going to think of you. It's not a stupid calendar. It's not like ridiculous things. It's just that moment where, and again, it's subliminal, right?
Yeah.
Where they look at that glass and they're like, oh my God, I love that glass. I remember when we got it, and the box and everything. So I always try to make sure that I end how the process was for them, because it's so easy. Like, realtors come in and out of their minds, but as we all do, I shouldn't say we all, but what we all strive to do is do the best we can for our clients. And at the end, I want to encapsulate that experience for them.
Totally.
So I'm a class act from beginning to end.
Well, I think a lot of the reason, this is really a good conversation, but we're talking about is brand, and most of us don't look at ourselves as a brand because we look at ourselves as individuality. You have to look at yourself as a brand, because that's ultimately what they remember. Like, here's a really good example. I remember when I got married, we're Mexicans. What the hell do Mexicans do on Sundays? We drink beer and eat tacos. All right. So every Sunday, that's what we do. And my wife's side of the family, see them every Sunday, but they didn't know me as an agent. until I friended them on social media, until they went on my email list and I started farming them with my email campaigns, and they're on social media and they see me storytelling. But within an 8 to 10 month period, I made back half of my wedding money by taking that wedding list and literally farming it and marketing them, and just staying in front of people, sort of gently reminding, hey, don't forget I exist. Don't forget I exist. This is a giant game of attention, folks. Super, 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 super cool. Talk to me real quick about what are your guys' you're in the LA market, so what's the average sales price there? And talk to us about COVID really quick and out there and what you see coming, and let's get this thing wrapped.
So I will say this. My book of business, usually I'm a big turn and burn kind of boy. So I do a lot of bread and butter listings, which average about $1.5 million, like 1.7. That's kind of the average, I guess. And then I'll have larger pops, the 4 or 5. Last year I had like a $13.5, $14 million. I have a $16.5 million listing right now. So like I'll have those pops, but then I'll have the, and again, for all of you listening, this is the LA Beverly Hills market.
Yeah, they're all like, what are you talking about?
Right. So first time home buyer for us is basically under 2 million, like under 1.5. And that market is on fire, has been. I wrote 4 offers in the last 2 weeks, multiple offers on each one. The last one, which was a fixer that but with a great view, but like, in a kind of a hipster neighborhood, 12 offers at $1 million and probably went $200,000 over the asking price for a total fixer. So that side of the market is very heavy. We're seeing a little bit of a pause with homes above $2.5 million. Like I have a $3 million listing in a neighborhood that I should have been able to sell in 5 minutes. It's in the best school district in LA, public school district. And with COVID, we don't even know if the school is happening in the fall. And so it's been crickets. So it's a very, so my point is like, not to completely transition. So we have a very vast market. The uber luxury market, meaning the 30, 40, $50 million listings are actually transacting. We're seeing a lot of off market deals that are happening in that price point. So the very wealthy people still have their money. They feel good about it. The folks that have their stable jobs feel good about their jobs, that they're not going to lose. The folks working in peripheral, like
service.
Yeah, exactly. Like service, production right now, tech, startups, Silicon Beach, probably everyone's like trembling in their boots. In certain industries, I've had clients that are like, you know what, I need to take a pause because I've watched 8 of my friends get laid off in the last 2 weeks in similar technology-based industries. So that's kind of the backdrop of what's happening right now. And what COVID has done, we actually have been listing a ton of places as a team because our attitude has been, let's not be a slave to the comps. Let's set the comps. Because right now we have healthy sales to reflect on for the last, 6 months. Going forward, we're gonna see a dip, and in certain price points, the housing market is taking a hit, and we don't want to be kind of behind the 8 ball on that. We'd rather set those comps. And so, obviously, in LA, we have had to deal with, in my opinion, outrageously stringent rules in terms of showing property, being able to show property. We can't have open houses, and I feel like. This might be a little controversial, I guess, but like I feel like the rules have kind of gone from one end of the extreme to the other, and it's making it really hard to transact, and making it really hard to show houses and rules that make no sense. So we're having to deal with all that. But on the bright side of things, interest rates are super low, so we're encouraging buyers to move because money is cheap.
Yep.
Inventory is low. The stuff that's on the market, people might want to make a deal at. And quite frankly, this is the first type of market where I've seen where we've been able to renegotiate in contract because the seller really needed to sell their home. And the buyer was like, you know what? I don't feel like this $5 million house is worth $5 million anymore because of the pandemic. I want, 5 to 7% off. And if the seller really needs to move and sell, they're having that conversation.
Especially the first week it hit, no one really knew what the hell was going to happen. Because everyone's like, "Is this now that it's coming out?" Everybody, I think, is like, "Oh, this isn't." I don't think people are as scared as they were. But I agree with you. the government hasn't made it easy for a lot of businesses out there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, hint. So any other thing that you guys want to mention that you could walk out? Here's the one thing I'll say about COVID. I think it's going to wipe out a lot of agents, which is a really good thing. Every year we lose a couple deals. I don't know how about in your market, but I'm sure every year you lose a couple deals to the guy who just got his license that just has that rich uncle, right? Or something like that. It happens all the time.
I try not to dwell, but I'll say this without going into too much detail. I lost a well, it hadn't gone in escrow, but I lost a deal that would be the equivalent of what most people make in a year. I lost in like one afternoon yesterday, and it was not fun. It would have been one of the biggest sales of my career. And
was it little cousin Billy who just got his license?
Oh, I can't go into it without losing.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hey, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys.
Right? Listen, it just means something good is coming my way.
That's all right. Keep positive, man.
But yeah, no, what I was saying is that if you have, like, I would encourage your listeners, if they haven't seen Listing Impossible, you can watch it on demand, cnbc.com. You can stream it for free, and feel free to comment on it. But what's great about it is it'll really show you how it is. And I think that watching it, you will kind of feel connected to kind of all of us as a realtor, as a community of realtors. And so that's really exciting. And, you know, we had our season finale. We were CNBC's top rated show. And then the next week, California went into a lockdown. So we'll see what happens, but fingers crossed for season 2. I'm pretty sure it'll be in the cards.
Good luck, man. That's fun. And honestly, we didn't even get a chance to, I'm sure it's doing amazing things for your guys' business. Again, media around brand. When you're on a network, you're just magnifying that thing times 10. Remember, go ahead.
One thing about that, when you talked about brand, it's really important, and I would give this suggestion to anybody, and again, especially when it comes to social media. Some people have a separate social media for their business and some separate for personal, and that's obviously a personal choice. I do not. And I think it's really important that everything on that page reflects you as you want to be seen by the world, you know? So those of you who have, like, I was mentoring 2 new agents on our team, and I said to them, you've got amazing bodies. I appreciate that. But if I was looking at your page, a house is not what I would want to buy from you. It would be something else. And so you have to make sure that you really decide who you want to be seen as by the world, and put that out there in a consistent way, like consistent branding, consistent looks, a good logo. These things don't cost you money. They may take a little bit of creativity, but do things on a consistent basis so people in your community get, oh yeah, that's the guy who specializes in luxury homes, or like, that's the divorce person, or that's who I should call for this. Oh, this person gets architecture. This person gets art, you know, just curate it.
100%. Why don't you go ahead and plug your channel and everything so our listeners want to follow you and whatnot, and we'll get wrapped up here. all
right. Well, listen, thank you for having me on. And you can follow me on Instagram at Yawar Charlie, YAWARCHARLIE, on Facebook at Yawar Charlie. I have a hashtag. It's called Yawar's Adventures in Real Estate. So you can find that and you can see the wacky, crazy stuff we get into. And of course, the show is Listing Impossible.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on and engaging with our listeners here, folks. Did you just hear his pitch for my business? I think you did, because everything that he just said is exactly what we do for you. I will figure out who the hell you are, what your brand strategy is. I'll tell you what to say. I'll script, edit, and distribute all your videos for you on top of it. And really the only time it doesn't work is when the people who see your video content don't like you. And then again, that's nothing I can help you with. You're in the damn wrong business. Thanks for watching our episode. And make sure you follow us on social. Connect with us on my YouTube page, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks for listening to another episode. We'll see you guys next week. The #1 show in real estate marketing. Thank you. Peace. Bye-bye.